Hey everyone and welcome to the video. So today I want to talk about Saints Row multiplayer as it's something that was rumoured a very long time ago and we've heard no sort of update on, and I want to give my honest thoughts on how a Saints Row multiplayer would work and why I basically don't want to see one in this game. So, Saints Row multiplayer in previous games has been a very simple PvP experience. That's basically what the multiplayer consisted of at its core. It was player versus player, combat orientated gameplay. The typical stuff you'd see in COD, but adapted obviously to a Saints Row way, like Protect the Pimp and other sort of deathmatch modes. It was pretty good, it just wasn't anything revolutionary. But despite that, communities did form around these games, and this sort of multiplayer experience became something people kind of craved. And as features slowly got shut down and servers slowly went down, this multiplayer experience was kind of lost, and although Saints Row is kind of dead these days, you can still see fragments of these early multiplayer communities still out there, still trying to play these days. It's pretty interesting to see, and it obviously shows that a demand for Saints Row multiplayer is there. However, I don't want to see it with the reboot. So back in, I don't know, before August, before the game was even announced, they did a Q&A over on the Discord where multiplayer was sort of hinted at, where they said, we're working on the foundation, but multiplayer is obviously something we can look into, basically. They basically hinted that it would come in the future. Now, I'm not sure if I want to see it with this game, and the reason is, well, there's a million, but first of all, the aiming. I mean, could you imagine a multiplayer experience where it's player versus player in some elements, and you had the reboot aiming? I can barely do PvE in the reboot, and the most recent update only made it worse. It really is an awful aiming system, like, objectively bad in every single way, and I think a multiplayer based around that is not good. I don't think people would enjoy it at all, and it would get so many complaints. On top of that, I don't know what the budget of the reboot is, but it's probably not too high. I don't want to see a half-assed multiplayer that people don't enjoy. If they're going to do multiplayer, it needs to be done right, and truthfully, I'm not sure if they could do it right with the reboot's foundation. It already has plenty of issues in it, and we're still basically fixing what's there to begin with, let alone adding new content. We haven't seen any DLCs, and I'm interested to see how that goes, because that may change my view on this. But the point being is the reboot is not in the best state for a multiplayer experience at all. I would obviously like to see a multiplayer in Saints Row in the future, but with a reboot, I just don't think it's it. And it doesn't just come down to budget and aiming. I wish it was that simple. I also kind of wonder where this would leave us for the future of Saints Row. I'm not sure if I want the reboot to be the game that's constantly getting updates for the next 5 years whilst they slowly work on the next Saints Row. I'm pretty much certain at this point we all want them to work on the next Saints Row, with the reboot being what it is. A lot of people just want a new game. They don't want to play this one, and I think that adding a multiplayer online right now to a game people aren't very fond of is not going to magically make them all fond of the game. It's just going to delay progress to the next game. On top of that, the audience for the reboot's quite small. There's not many people still playing this game. Hell, I'm not even still playing this game. I literally just hop on to get gameplay at times. I'm really checked out with the reboot, as is a lot of people. And obviously I'm waiting on DLCs, but at this point, we're all kind of just done. So, I don't think a multiplayer is necessarily the best move. I don't deny that it would revive the reboot for maybe a couple weeks, even maybe a couple months if done correctly. But the truth is, people just aren't happy with this game. I don't think it's going to have the draw of making people forget about the base game that they're all pretty upset with. I think the multiplayer on this game in specific would just kind of be a waste of resources. And I hate to say this because I have really high hopes for the reboot, and I had really high hopes, but at this point, kind of like everyone else, I'm basically saying, let's just get the DLCs out and move on. We're going to have new publishers, perhaps a new ideology, perhaps a way bigger budget, and just, at this point, I think we need to move on from the reboot rather quickly, and hope that this is just one massive bump in the road of Saints Row, and Saints Row will only get better from here. Obviously, I won't care to be taken with the DLCs. DLCs are important, and they're practically all the hope the reboot has. So obviously, take care with that. But I really think that at this point, we need to focus on getting out the standalone single-player content, get people the expansion pass content, throw out some cosmetic packs, and just kind of slowly move on. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to see, more stuff added to the reboot down the line. I'm not denying that, but I think that it needs to be done sensibly. And I don't think adding a whole new way to play the reboot is the move, because people don't want to play the reboot. That's kind of the case. So I feel that at this point we need to kind of just be done with Saints Row Reboot, be done with Saints Row 2022, get your content out, let the people who do enjoy it obviously. I'm looking forward to playing DLCs, I won't deny that, but I also just think it's time we move on from the reboot and go on to the next game. And it sucks to say this, but the reboot just isn't pleasing people. It doesn't matter whether I like it or you like it. The wide majority of people don't like it, so I don't think adding a multiplayer to a game people don't like is going to benefit them much. It'll just be a waste of resources, and no one wants that at the end of the day. So yeah, that's my honest take on having a multiplayer in the reboot. I know a lot of people would like to see one, but I'm just kind of saying hold off for a better Saints Row, because a lot of people would much prefer seeing a new game with a better foundation to work with and that being built upon, instead of a game with a rocky foundation to be built upon. I don't think the reboot's foundation for the series is too bad, but the foundation for the game itself is not fantastic, and I think that at this point we need to just hope they can build upon the reboot in a sequel. And then past that point is when I think we can start looking at a multiplayer, have a really good foundation to work with, and then go on from there. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Merry Christmas everyone, happy holidays, and yeah, see you soon.